Real-time strategy games and personal computers go together like bread and butter, and it's been that way for a very long time. Their lineage can be traced all the way back to games like Utopia or Stonkers that introduced real-time decision-making to the strategy genre way back in the 1980s. But real-time strategy games as we know them today really announced their arrival with the seminal Dune 2, The Building of a Dynasty. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and click on the links in the description to vote on upcoming content. This influential title established the core gameplay elements that would be built up and innovated on for years to come by popularizing now staple features like resource collection and the individual micromanagement of units. This seemed to have sparked the creativity of developers around the world, because from there, the formula was taken into both fantasy and science fiction directions with games like Total Annihilation or Warcraft: Orcs and Humans.
Why do you keep touching me?
Yet, more than 20 years later, one title still stands above them all: Starcraft.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
At face value, the game doesn't do anything dramatically different than its predecessors, yet it became an international phenomenon that sold over 10 million copies, helped launch the genre into new heights of popularity, and is still being played competitively today. So, what's its secret?
Two of the, I would say, foremost influential people in Brood War professional gaming.
Applying seemingly everything they learned from their prior attempts at the genre, Blizzard pulled out all the stops in making their 1998 marquee release stand out from the crowd. Right from the get-go, players are drawn into the game with the clean and easy-to-navigate UI that lays out units and buildings in approachable, logical ways. This interface, while often overlooked, keeps new players from getting lost or confused, and does a good job at providing all of the information they need at a glance, without overwhelming them with all the details. If you look at a sparse example like Homeworld, you'll see exactly what we mean. It may be less obtrusive and better for experienced players, but it's not exactly newbie-friendly. Starcraft's accessibility also carries on in the ways that units are clearly differentiated. Watching Zerglings or Hydralisks make their way across the map and respond vocally to each click of the mouse gives each unit an identity to help them stand out from one another. Combine this with the different attack animations, and even hectic battles are easy to scan, assess, and respond to because things can quickly and easily be told apart from one another.
Yeah, he did get that center. The center of the tank army, but they are going to have to disperse back to Flash's base here.
Speaking of units, they're probably one of the most iconic aspects of the game, and for good reason. Everyone knows about battle cruisers and carriers, but what about Marines? Even the little guys with their stim packs have their time in the spotlight thanks to their versatility, and that's really the key. In contrast to a game like Age of Mythology, Starcraft doesn't have any game-breaking units like Titans, and therefore no clutch to rely on to carry you through a particularly tough fight. This results in not only every unit potentially playing pivotal roles in your armies, but also to an incredibly balanced game. Each of the three asymmetrically designed races and units might be better in specific circumstances, but none are terrible or blatantly broken. Case in point, Zerglings. They're one of the cheapest units, but can also quickly scale up into the late game with just a little TLC and the Adrenal Glands upgrade. Regardless of army composition, skilled players can adapt to their opponent and find routes to victory by maximizing their strength and diversity of their armies with a very simple rock, paper, scissors kind of approach.
That was really nice by Jadon, pulling that drone off and attacking the vulture, taking down that. A nice harassment play here by Flash, doing as much damage as possible.
This leads us to probably our most important point, the skill component. With mouse selection that's capped at just 12 units, multiple hotkeys, control groups, commands to remember and execute, and individual units to micro around the enemy, the skill ceiling in this game is seemingly endless. It's extremely daunting, and it discourages far too many players from playing the game because they think they need to be perfect. But that's really not the case at all. When you start to examine things like the Dragoon or Scourge pathfinding, you'll probably realize that it's impossible to play a perfect game because the AI is actually too dumb. Hey, mistakes are gonna happen, even to guys like the Flash. The difference is that the great players consistently work on minimizing their mistakes in small, incremental steps towards improvement. Starcraft requires you to embrace your mistakes and learn from them. There's hardly any luck and no RNG. It's all about snap decision-making, execution, and crisis management. And that all comes with experience.
That is a lot of Zealots against not a lot of Hydras. He attacks forward here. Jaedong is going to have to pull back with his Hydras.
But let's say you're tired of striving for improvement. Do you shut down Battle.net for the night and load up another game to relax? Well, you don't have to. The single-player campaign is a sprawling space opera with a great story that takes itself seriously rather than relying on gimmicks like full-motion video, and it has the same great gameplay with none of the pressure of perfection. Unfortunately, the real-time strategy genre is not as popular as it used to be. MOBAs, first-person shooters, and battle royale games are some of the newest trends that have swept PC gaming over the past decade, and it might just be because Starcraft seemingly perfected the genre and limited innovation. Many titles came after it, but none could really match its excellence, arguably not even its sequel. Some had a few of the features that made Blizzard's title so great, and a few of those even had a lot of them. But only Starcraft had them all, and that's the reason why it won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Thanks for watching Mojo Plays. Be sure to subscribe and click on the link in the description below to check out our suggestion page and vote on what content you'd like to see us cover next.